Well, I'm delighted to be speaking today to Mejid Manai from Core Service here in Geneva. Welcome, Mejid.
Thank you so much, David.
So you were the chairman of a great panel session that we ran last October here in Geneva. But those who've not had the chance to meet you before or hear more about Core, it'd be great to hear a little bit more about your background.
Okay, thank you so much. So I'm a Swiss lawyer. I was working for banks, specified in the Middle East area. So traveling in Saudi, Qatar, Kuwait, etc. And now I'm working at Core Service, and we offer Swiss trust service, fiduciary services, accounting, real estate services, etc. But I'm still focusing on the Middle East area because I cannot get rid of Middle East. It's my favorite client, and I like to be close to them.
Brilliant. Have you got any trip now we start to travel again? Have you got trips planned? Are you back in the region seeing clients face to face?
Yes, indeed. Yeah, actually only in Dubai.
Yeah.
But it's a good spot, Dubai, because people are coming from everywhere to meet in Dubai. Now it's starting to be a bit warm, so they come here. But yes, Dubai, I go regularly.
And there's huge connectivity between Geneva and the Middle East generally, Dubai, but also Saudi, Kuwait, other key wealth markets. Do you see that, particularly as we come into the summertime here in Geneva?
Yes, and particularly right now with the context, they like to be here and they appreciate Switzerland, especially Geneva, which is very great for us, a great honor. They trust the system, actually. They trust our stability, and they like the way of doing business here. So it's a win-win situation, Switzerland and the Middle East.
Fantastic. And over the last 2 years, families have thought about their situation. Residency has really risen up the agenda in terms of people wanting to base themselves in different parts of the world, or they've had to, because they've been living in a certain part of the world, it's restricted their movement to see family and other people. So have you seen changes in habits in relocation and residency through this extraordinary period that we've lived through? Yeah,
it's a very good point, David. With this particular time, we see that clients are being protective because of financial crisis and political crisis. They're looking for B plan, so they need to be flexible in case of. So they're asking for dual citizenship. There is programs for that, as you know, or a relocation to make sure that they can move and they can go in other place if needed, actually.
And what kind of clients do you find come to Switzerland? Because it is, it is an ultra high net worth type jurisdiction, isn't it? Yes. Do you find people look through, some select Switzerland, some maybe look at other European options, or what do you find?
Yeah, you answered the question by asking it. Actually, it's ultra high network people coming here for the forfait, because forfait is a bit cheap, expensive, sorry. And other clients are going to Monaco, same level of client. Italy, there is a very good program, forfait program as well in Italy, which work quite well, cheaper. So Italy is also a trend, I would say, yes.
Okay, interesting. And on the wealth structuring side, in our panel in October, you laid out, some of the key principles about how families in the Middle East can look at structuring both local and international assets.
Yes.
Perhaps you could give us a flavour of what you see as the latest trends.
Yes, of course. Actually, we just spoke about citizenship and relocation. So it's a way to protect ourselves, but there is also the way to protect wealth. So they create wealth in the local countries, but then they want to protect it offshore. So they set up trust, private trust company, fund, foundation, insurance, and they do it outside to mitigate local risk. And Switzerland is an excellent place for that. Why? Because they have also the banking place here. So they have bankers here, trustee here. So they concentrate the risk in one place and they consider it safe. So we have an increase of requests, especially for trust, yes.
And are you seeing the sort of very bespoke PTC style structuring? Is there anything particular in the structuring trends that you're seeing?
Yes, indeed. So PTC private trust company are they ask it a lot. Why? Because they have a tailor-made trustee solution. So they do not lose so much control, and they have something that we can adapt on their own situation. So it's a perfect solution because you offer confidentiality, you offer control, but you have segregation and mitigation of risk according to wealth preservation. So I think it's a good tool for Middle Eastern clients.
There's also lots of new options coming out of the region for local assets like the foundation structure, DIFC, and there's a lot of innovation locally.
Yes.
Do you see partnerships with locally based lawyers as something that's quite interesting, where you're tackling the international end of the asset base?
It's a good point. We work a lot actually with people there. Why? Because for local assets, especially real estate, local situation, local solution are very good. So there is local foundation, DFC Foundation. I'm saying hello to my friend Jan Mrazek, who is the king of foundation there. But also there is a local trust law. So it works. The thing is, with the local structuration, you don't mitigate the local risk. So for real estate is good, but for movable assets such as banking account, they often select offshore solution. Okay. So we work together.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about on the private investment, so private equity side, or private companies that are held through structures? Are you seeing new trends in that space too?
Thank you. It's also a very good point, because we spoke about citizenship, so you protect yourself. We spoke about wealth preservation, you protect your assets, but now we're speaking about diversification, and you preserve and you protect your investments. So they're trying to invest in different style of investment, no more bonds or equity, but much more private equity. So they're looking for, I would say, special and tailor-made solution, and we set up funds for that, Luxembourg fund, Cayman fund, sometimes Swiss fund, to look after opportunities. It could be hospital, it could be parking, it could be, they're looking for very specific type of assets, especially real estate as well, to diversify. But they're going more and more in this direction.
And could that be a co-investment style vehicle between families, or just create better governance between parties?
That's the point. Actually, you could also add to that governance, and you pull investors together from a region for a company to look after opportunities. So, yes.
What's the kind of minimum investment around a Luxembourg fund? Because I mean, cost is a factor, isn't it? So what do you tend to find the minimum point makes it worthwhile?
I mean, we adapt, because you have regulated fund and unregulated fund. So if you go to a regulated fund, indeed, you need to have an important amount of asset. I would say 50 million, big amount. But for non-regulated fund, we could do tailor-made solution with not big assets. Okay. So, and actually, it's the majority of case that we have is for small investment that we structure it through fund.
And that's viable because the reporting requirements regulated are much less, so it can be administered.
Exactly, David. Very good. I can see that you are a wealth planner. You understand.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, great. And also, I mean, I suppose there's new assets emerging. A lot of conversations I've been having last few days around crypto, digital assets. Yes. Switzerland very much at the vanguard, I think, of the innovation. Are you seeing that also, the Middle East region, which is the big tech investors generally, you know?
Yes, to be frank, it's a big trend, of course. Zug is, as you know, the crypto valley of Switzerland, and they do a lot. And I think it's very powerful. Banks, lawyers, all the systems are adapted to that. But they will not ask us to help them on that. They already have their own business, and we help them to convert it or to protect it. I would say it like that. But yeah.
So with the liquidity realized, then that's the diversification.
Exactly, more on that side.
And I mean, a lot is written generally about next gen and what next gens are like, what their priorities are. And do you think generally that they can be, this sort of new type of client can be characterized, or actually are there needs and concerns too diverse to put under this label? Or do you think there's genuine characteristics that represent the next generation of people inheriting wealth and coming through?
Yes, definitely. Actually, I'm sure that you saw that unfortunately the Sheikh of Abu Dhabi passed away, and so it has been a lot of question of next generation who's going to take over the power. We knew already who, but so it's a perfect example of succession of power and assets in the Middle East directly on the top, and there is a new generation emerging, and they are creating the wealth right now, and I think we have to focus on this generation indeed. As
an industry, you need to communicate better with that more entrepreneurial, different kind of client base to what was traditionally there.
Yes, we need to understand the needs, the way of communicating with them, because it's completely different. and the way of being in the same mood. So I think doing old school business with new generation doesn't work anymore. We have to do new school business with new school people. So we have to adapt. So.
And I know that your approach at Core is open architecture in the sense of you also work with insurance solution. You find the best solution, but how do you see as a trustee predominantly working with insurance solutions on for clients? What do you see that adds?
Yeah, so we had current situation where we're working with insurance, with universal life insurance to be precise. Why? Because the insurance will create wealth. You create through leverage certain amount of money, and then this money is protected by an envelope by the insurance. And when the client passes away, then the money is go to the trust to be distributed as he wanted. So it's working perfectly. You create the wealth and you protect it through the insurance, but then you hold it through the trust to make sure that you have governance. So the trust will offer this governance planning, and the insurance will offer this tax and this wealth creation planning. So it's really we should work much more together. We're starting to have a good case, but I think it's a good combination indeed.
And on the investment side for clients in the Middle East, there's lots of expertise here in Switzerland around ESG investing, which actually has a lot of parallels in Sharia investing. And in the panel we ran in October, we saw that.
Yes, that's
true. Expertise on show. Do you think that that's a really strong capability in Switzerland, the fact that there is this deep knowledge across different styles of investing that can be very much applied in the Middle Eastern context?
Yes, I think they also looking to Switzerland to be always at the top of the industry, including this kind of investment. So I think we answer to the need, and we can offer that for sure from Switzerland.
Fantastic. Well, look, Mejid, always a pleasure to see you.
Thank you, David.
Look forward to seeing you tonight, and look forward to sharing this chat with our members.
Thank you so much for all you do. It's amazing. Thank you, David.
Fantastic.